Hey y'all, it's Ashley Bookish Realm, and I am back with another video, specifically a discussion video, and it's something that I have been thinking about literally for like the past 2.5 hours, and it was something that's been on my mind for the past couple days, and I was really sparked to do this video and inspired to do this video because of Christina Marie. If you don't follow her, you definitely should. I'll leave the link to her channel down below in the description box. And it was after I watched her BEA BookCon book haul, and also her a second half of the video, or the towards the end of the video, was about discussion, and it related once again to the lack of diversity that is in not only this community, in authors, publishing companies, and at these book festivals. And as someone who is, I'm not a prominent booktuber, but I do have a good bit of subscribers, and I'm grateful to each one of you. But I also wanted to kind of voice my opinion and my perspective on the situation. And this is coming from a person that is Black and female. I can't speak for all people of color because I am not all people of color. So I don't have that voice. I don't have that power to do that. And I can only speak from my own experiences. So please do not take this out of context and think that I am speaking for everyone or that I represent everyone, because I do not in the least bit. I can only speak for me. And this is so interesting that this is coming up again, because if you guys didn't know, I filmed a video about 2 years ago that was titled BookTube and It's Like a Diversity. It's one of my most viewed videos on my channel, which is amazing. I'm glad that so many people have watched it, and to this day I still get feedback from that video. I think it is quite unfortunate that I'm sitting here in 2018 and I am revisiting the same topic. And it's not to say that things haven't gotten better, but they could be better. And my issue is just that I've gone through and I've watched so many people's videos of BookCon and BEA, and there still is a lack of representation, y'all. Like, I don't care which way you flip it, how you put it, in my eyes, it's still a lack of representation. I know there were plenty of people of color that attended BEA and BookCon, and like Christina Marie said, they enjoyed their experience and they felt inclusive, or they felt included in everything. But 30, 40 people of color at a book festival is not really indicative of inclusion. And this is not a video where I am here to tear down or criticize your favorite well-known booktubers, because as many people do not realize, some of the biggest booktubers are some of my favorite booktubers as well. However, I still believe that there is a lack of representation when it comes to BookTube. There are not only one group of people who make BookTube videos. There are not only one group of people that are bloggers or bookstagrammers or want to be involved in the publishing company or want to write. It's startling. I took a class last semester, and it was a YA lit class, and this is so interesting. I wish I would have talked about it last semester, but you guys know how school goes. It just gets overwhelming and it's too much to actually post great content while you're working full-time and going to graduate school full-time. The lack of people of color in publishing and readership it's abysmal. And this is not something that I'm making up. This is actual statistics that have been analyzed and documented and written about. And these are people who work in the field of library information science, and they have noticed that the trends of readership and publication do not really align with people of color, especially those who are Black. And I think my biggest issue is that I watch these videos with like BookCon and BEA, and there are predominantly certain groups that are included in these more, I guess, personal, invited sessions with publishing companies and groups and stuff like that. And that's fine and dandy. That's not saying that these groups of people have not worked hard to get where they are now, but you have to understand that your readers are not just coming from one group. If you want to expand your readership and you want to reach all types of people from all types of background, you have to include them in these discussions with authors, with publishers, if they're not included, you're not expanding your viewership. And as much as we on BookTube like speak about diversity and I want to read more diverse, how diverse are we being if we're not including the individuals that these books are being written about? I was following just literally 30 minutes ago basically a Twitter discussion led by Christina Marie, and people have fell off of BookTube because they are minority groups and they feel like they're not included in the community. I still heartily believe that it is more difficult, or it seems as though, let me not make definites because I don't want to work in definites because I don't think anything is really an absolute. I think that, you know, I do find that my numbers are lower or that my viewership is lower, you know, being a Black booktuber and a woman of color. It's disheartening, and I make the content that I make because I do have those subscribers that are phenomenal who, like, I took a 2-month hiatus because I just had a lot of personal stuff going on, and there are people from all different backgrounds, ethnicities, races, nationalities, religions commenting saying, hey, you know what, I'm so happy you're back, I missed you, and that's great, and I do this for them. But, you know, I don't think that effective change can really happen unless you're including everybody. I think we've done a better job at publishing companies, you know, and there's still room for improvement. There's always room for improvement. We've done a great job, you know, attempting to include people of color or minority groups in the publishing industry. But you also have to realize those people who are bloggers, who are booktubers, who are bookstagrammers, they need to be included in the discussion as well, because you can't continue to reach out to the same groups and expect change to occur. That's not how it works. I know that there are a lot of Black females and Black males that watch my channel because they're looking for booktubers that look like them, that can speak to their experiences and speak to, you know, what they're familiar with. And I think that's an amazing thing, and I'm all here for it. But it shouldn't be a community where one group feels isolated or other groups feel isolated because they don't feel included in the overall discussion. I know Joss at Scribble Reads, she said on Twitter to Christina Marie's to her timeline, saying that as an Asian booktuber and an advocate for Asian literature, she feels left out. That's not okay. None of that by any means is appropriate, nor is it okay. And if you have a platform, once again, I'm not telling you what to do with your platform or how to use your platform because that's not my role, but advocate for people who are typically overseen to be included. This has nothing to do with, because I'm sure some people are going to think, oh, you know, like, is this a discussion about how, you know, they have their friends and you know, you don't see certain people. I don't care who's friends with who. I don't give a shit who's friends with who at the end of the day, because frankly, that's none of my business. Like, I have my personal life, my personal friends. This is not about a popularity contest or being included and I want to be friends with this friend. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't care. Like, I think they're all wonderful people, but like, I'm not here looking for, you know, a gateway to make friends. Like, friends happen naturally. I just feel like, you know, seeing the same people meet with the same publishers and the same authors over and over again, how do you expect to reach people who want to be included but don't feel like they can be included because of the fact that they're not being reached out to? That's not okay. I don't understand how we want to encourage people, and this is like the teacher slash librarian side of me, is I don't understand how we want to encourage everyone, no matter what race, nationality, religion, creed, sexuality. We want to include them in reading and encouraging them to read, but you don't reach out to them. You can't do that. That makes absolutely no sense to me. It doesn't align. It doesn't add up. Yes, I know that this is a money-making business. Everybody in every way is out here trying to hustle. Like, I have my ways that I need to make money. Y'all have your ways that you need to make money. Authors have their ways that they need to make money. Publishers have their ways to make money. But at what point are you sacrificing, you know, inclusiveness and diversity for money and for exposure, because I understand the idea of reaching those who have the most influence over a community, but at the same time, you are unfortunately maybe leaving out those individuals that could have better insight, may give you some ideas and clues on how to reach certain groups that maybe you find you're not reaching. Like, I think that's a whole issue of self-reflection that maybe we need to take a step back and kind of look at and really analyze. I really resonate with Christina Marie when she said, you know, I don't see myself as saying like I should be that pinpoint person, because if you guys know me, and most of you guys who have subscribed to my channel, you know me, I'm not here for all the hoopla and the bells and the whistles and, you know, becoming popular. Like, this is something that I love. I've said many a times that reading is something that has saved my life over and over and over. And with my mental health issues, reading is definitely one of my biggest coping mechanisms. But I can't sit here and be silent when I see that there's a problem. I don't like the fact that 2 years later, I am talking about the same exact thing. I love that we came up with an initiative. We need diverse books, and people are reading more diversely. That's not an issue. People are making an effort to read more diversely. But now it's a time to understand and look at how can the community be more diverse, because you don't just have one group of people who are watching your YouTube videos. You don't have one group of people who are interested in authors, or one group of people who are bloggers, or one group of people who are bookstagrammers, or one group of people who are making videos here on YouTube. I just find it so disheartening that I have seen people say that they have quit BookTube, or they're scared to start BookTube because they feel like they won't be included. Like, we're supposed to be a welcoming community. I don't know too many people who work in teaching and you know, in librarianship in this community who don't want to be welcoming. But if you can't wake up and open up your eyes and stop turning a blind eye to, you know, what is going on, I think that's an issue. I think, you know, I look at a lot, and I'm not lying to y'all, like, I watched as many BookCon and BEA vlogs as I could before I sat down and made this video, because I didn't want to be so offhand because I wasn't there. So, you know, I'm coming from an experience where I was not present in the moment, and that can make things a little skewed. I do recognize that. But looking at like BookTube meet and greets, you know, BookTube panels really, I think, is what triggered me, because there are more than the same individuals that are doing BookTube. And I always feel like Black people in particular, speaking from my own experience, because I have been to book festivals where I have been present amongst these same people, I find that a lot of Black people who are on BookTube, who like to read, who want to be involved in the community, are not present because they don't feel included. There are people who are a part of BookTube who can give great insight to BookTube, but are not included because we see the same faces over and over again. And it's not their fault, y'all. Like, I can't sit here and say anything bad about anybody that is a major booktuber or they're well known or whatever the case may be, because they're not bad people. And I'm not here to bash them or tear them down. I'm more so, I feel like I'm more so criticizing the people who organize these things and don't think to say, you know what? Maybe we need to include this person or this person or that person and that person because BookTube doesn't look like this. It's the same thing with like America in general. If we pull up the same people over and over and say, this is America, like that's not, that was a good reference. This is America. Yeah. We pull up the same people over and over again. That's not a clear representation, because that's not what it is. It's not reality. And it's just so disheartening. It's so unfortunate. And I was really disappointed. Like, and I was really questioning whether to say something or not, because I was like, I don't really want to harp on this training. I don't want to talk about this bullshit anymore. But unfortunately, you know, seeing Christina Marie's video, I was kind of like, you know what, it's on and popping. It's time to start talking about this shit again, because the same stuff is happening over and over and over again, and nobody is doing a damn thing to change it. Like, how can you sit there and not want to change that? And I really do have a huge issue with these publishing companies and these organizations that don't make an effort to reach out to readers who are people of color or minorities or just different in general. Like, it has to be somebody in these areas who has to think, you know what, hey, we're pulling the same people over and over again. Like, how are we reaching the entire reading, community? Like, how are we making sure that we're reaching as many corners and assets, corners and facets of the reading community as we can? Like, they can't be. There's no way that you can justly sit there and say that you don't have that thought in your mind. Like, I don't understand how. I don't understand how people don't think of this stuff, or how people haven't recognized or realized this stuff, because I can tell you right now, as a Black female booktuber, I feel underappreciated and I feel looked over a lot of times. There are Black booktubers, bookstagrammers, and bloggers who make a hell of a lot better content than I do, and they're overlooked as well. Like I said, I can't speak for other groups because I'm not other groups. I've never been in their shoes, and I will never be in their shoes. I can't speak to their experience, but I sure as hell can speak to mine. And as pleasant and as wonderful as I've had, like, making friends here and getting to know people from all across the world, and, meeting so many beautiful people as far as my subscribers are concerned, things have got to change, and I don't know when they're going to change, but they have to change. I know how they can change is to start this dialogue and this conversation, because this hoopla of, not really being aware of what's going on, or just ignoring it because we're saying, hey, you know what, we're reading diversely, you should be satisfied. No, screw that. Props for reading diversely and advocating for diverse books, but it goes further than that. It goes further than that. Like, I was so shocked at watching this stuff, and I was like, where are the Black people at BookCon and BEA? I didn't even know really Black people attended BEA and BookCon like that, really, until I saw Christina Marie's post, and I saw a couple of people that I follow on Instagram had gone. But other than that, like, extreme lack of attendance. And a lack of attendance is usually because people don't feel comfortable. I could definitely speak for Y'all Fest that happens in Charleston every year. I've been about 2 or 3 times, and I feel like I stick out like a sore thumb, because there's not a lot of people there that look like me, because there's not a lot there for people who look like me. Like, it's the same panel discussions with the same people, and nobody who wants to see themselves or wants to see themselves represented in such a huge community is going to attend something if they don't feel like their perspective and their viewpoint is going to be represented. Like, I sure as hell wouldn't. Which is why, like, half the time I'm low-key like a recluse when I'm at these book festivals. Like, I'm there, but a lot of times people don't realize I'm there because I just, it's uncomfortable. It's so damn uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable experience. And I want to change it, y'all. I really do want to change it. And I think the conversation really needs to happen. And I hope that with, Christina Marie has a bigger platform than I do. I hope that people hear her voice and listen and really take into consideration the lack of representation that is going on. Like I said, it's 2018. Why the hell am I having the same conversation that I had 2 years ago? This conversation shouldn't be happening. Like, we had this discussion. People were like, oh, well, the majority of the people who watched the video were pretty much like, I feel you, like, I see the same thing. And then, you had a couple of people who were like, it's really not that serious. You're making a bigger deal out of it than what it is. No, you can say that because you're not walking in my shoes. If you were in my shoes, you would feel the way that I feel. And it's not always great. Like I said, like, I keep making content solely because of the people who are on this channel that support me die hard. Like, really, I've never met some of these people in real life, and I feel very connected and very close to them, and I love that. I love having that connection with them. But I want some of my brown and black folks to feel like they're represented too. Like, I want them to feel like, hey, you know what? I can go to BEA and BookCon and feel comfortable because there's somebody, you know, with a platform that's representing how I feel, or they're voicing my opinions. And doing it in books and with authors is good, but it's not enough. It's not enough. Like, some of these organizations really need to step it up. They really need to step it up. You can't expect things to change if you don't decide to make things, you know, get things moving, essentially. But that's it. Like, I'm not gonna ramble anymore. I think I have gotten it out. Hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from. And like I gave a preface before, this is nothing to do with the big booktubers at hand. Like, it has nothing to do with them. They have worked hard to get where they are, and I respect that. I respect anybody's hustle. If you knew me personally, get your hustle on any way that you can. I'm all about, when it comes down to using your hobbies, you know, to better yourself, or you have hobbies and that's your hustle. Like, I don't have a problem with that. Props to you. But the representation, that's a problem. It's a huge problem. And making my voice heard is the only way that I know how to change that, and how to make more brown and black people feel comfortable doing what they want to do, and make them feel comfortable in wanting to start their own channel. So that's it, y'all. I don't even want to do the whole run through that I usually do at the end of the videos, because I'm kind of like with this through attitude. But y'all let me know how you feel in the comments below. Keep it respectful. I don't do disrespectful shit on my channel. Like, that's one thing about me too. Like, in the comments, keep it classy. If someone has an opinion that you don't like, respectfully disagree and keep it moving. Because everybody at the end of the day is not going to agree with you. But nastiness, y'all can hop off and move on with that stuff. Because I really don't. I don't do that. So, yeah. Anyway, like I said, leave your comments below. I'll check in with y'all later. Bye.